Gosh, we gotta pray.
Don't forget the whistle.
I don't have a whistle.
All aboard.
All aboard. I'm not clearly dressed up in the attire appropriate for the situation, but in Tolfinister the Sinister's absence. What?
You're live now.
Per. All aboard. I clearly do not have the attire appropriate for this situation, but as Tolfinister the Sinister is now bedridden, tested positive for the coronavirus, I will be the understudy in his stead. In a grueling game map challenge that I constructed for the final three passengers we have here, Caleb emerged victorious in the most important immunity challenge of the season. So, Caleb, you've done it. You've now done successfully what 18, soon to be 19 individuals have not been able to do, and locked in your spot at the final station. Caleb, tell me how you're feeling.
I feel really good. I mean, that was a very difficult challenge. I'm glad that I studied everything and anything about the season going into it because I expected some sort of season trivia. I did not expect a game grid, whatever you called it, about the season. That made it way more difficult. And it took me a lot longer to figure out, obviously. I mean, that challenge was like at least 20 minutes if my concept of time is correct. But no, I'm proud of myself. I have only ever played two orgs, and to now be able to say that I've never been voted out of any of them is an accomplishment that I am going to hold near and dear to my heart. Um, I don't know. I'm just really proud, and like in that moment specifically, was flooded with an immense amount of joy that I didn't think an org would be able to make me feel, which is really nice. I don't know. It's silly to say.
Let's go to the flip side of the coin. So obviously, with every winner comes a couple losers. Keddy, unfortunately, you did not. We were not able to clutch up, although you have checked many times during the game map challenge. Do you feel like you needed this one?
I mean, like, it would have been cute to have like an individual immunity win. I mean, like, if I were to rate my physical game from like a 1 to a 10, I'd give it a cute 1.5, 2 for effort. Like, it's not my strong suit, but like, I was close. Like, obviously, I think that I could have studied a little bit harder. And like Caleb said, like, the challenge was like a nightmare in itself. Like, for at least for me, and I know this was for Caleb, I don't know if it was for Noah, but like I was switching like three, four names at the same time because there were so many answers that were so similar that it was just kind of like trying to find the right combination. Fortunately, I wasn't fast or accurate enough like Caleb did. So yeah, I mean, I have a 1 and 2 shot at going home. That's the same odds that Laura and Taylor drew rocks at the final 10. So to put that in perspective, it's a very scary feeling. But um like, I hope Caleb takes me. I've heard that he would, so I hope that he continues that. But at the end of the day, he has to make the decision that's best for his game.
You know, it's very interesting that we ended it off with this challenge specifically because it tested your knowledge on everything that came through this game. Things all the way the scavenger hunt up until rather recently with the conductor vote at the final five. Everything that occurred during this season led up to that moment, that final challenge. Next question goes to Noah. What was the aftermath like? You know, Keddy just mentioned it. It was a 1 and 2 chance, so really it could only pitch, if not yourself, then the only alternative for Caleb to take out here in this position. So what was immediately after the challenge like for you? What was the fallout?
I like to call myself a passionate survivor player. Um, that's there's a fine line between passion and anger with me. So I've kind of been through the five stages of grief at this point. So we have the first stage. I don't know actually all of them off by heart, but like it was like I was excited, honestly, because I thought Caleb was taking me to the end because it's clear in my eyes that Caleb may also see that I'm one of the biggest threats in this game. One, take me to the end of the game and fight against me, but also I think Caleb's equity equity at winning the game is just far more higher against me in the final two. So I was just laying out all the odds. Like just thinking about where people's perceptions may be going into Final Tribal, I was just being passionate and just trying to keep a game and not come off threatening. Although when I get passionate, I get emotional, and I definitely have sent Caleb over 3,000 words in the past 24 hours. I literally laid it out in a pretty, and Caleb was cute. We like kind of yassified Caleb. Caleb sent a response and divided it with cute emojis. So it was cute and concise. But I literally feel like I laid it out all on the table. I know their bond is unbreakable, but if it was purely game, and this is just where I see it in my eyes, I think Caleb has the better shot against Keddy within getting a few more votes than maybe I see Keddy getting over Caleb in the end game. And that's just how I see it. And I know they have their own interpretation and own perception of the game, which they explain to me, which I get. But it's also like, if you're saying I have these like connections with the jury and these people, and I've been friends with people, I feel like I'm ought to know like some of their own like feelings about people, because I got to know people on a personal level, and then people let me know how they felt about people. So like when you vote people out of this game, that is an element that is taken into consideration when people go into the jury, and they weigh out how much you betrayed them and how much it actually made game sense for and benefited you over the other person. And so yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I'm gonna move over to Caleb. Caleb, actually, I empathize with you. And ironically enough, the two games you had played were both games where I was in the final three, same position that you were in, won the final immunity challenge, and both completely different outcomes. One, I took somebody, I lost to them at FTC. The other one, I took somebody and I ended up winning FTC. So I've seen both sides of the coin. So tell me how heavy this decision weighs on you, whether it be from a game perspective, like, hey, I need to think about my best odds at winning at the end and appealing to the jury, but also from a personal level because you spent so much time with these two.
Well, I think it's funny you use yourself as an example, Jacob, because wasn't the person you lost to Noah? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I think Noah put it perfectly. Noah is a very passionate person, and we've had an extremely passionate, emotional, deep conversation in the last 24 hours. But I think that has only solidified my feelings about this decision because I know how much I've fallen in love with Noah's personality and how much I've enjoyed spending time with Noah, not only as an Alliance member, but just as like someone to talk to and shoot the shit with in a random one-on-one call. And I therefore know how much the jury would enjoy that. And I just feel as though while I am confident in my game, I think Noah is someone that can win people over. And I don't plan on making the same mistakes as Jacob Adorno and taking Noah to the end to lose to Noah because I know how good of a player Noah is. I've seen it in his voice messages to me and his writing to me, and it was like starting to convince me. And if he's able to convince me to take him to the end, he's going to be able to convince everyone to vote for him at the end. And again, that's not, if anything, a diss. It is a testament to how good a player Noah is.
I need I need to rebuttal because it's like not funny, but kind of funny because you didn't get to make the decision when you were in the final three last time. So it's like you were getting brought to the not brought. I use that I well brought, but I don't use that as a harsh term, if you know what I mean. You were someone was voted out over you, and as a result, you made it into the final two. Now you're in the power position. Jacob was in that power position twice, one way and one the other way. Did both options. The difference is perception. And when I say reality is reality, that's what it is. When people's perceptions are in these tunnels and can't be widened to the extent we want them to be widened, like I want to praise my game to the glory, but like I do still have flaws in my game that needs to be considered. So it's like, again, if we're comparing it to Jacob Adorno, the master themselves, they the first time they made the decision, they brought me and lost, but the second time they brought you, but you still like they still won final immunity in both scenarios. So it comes to the game at the end of the day. I'm
I know,
done.
I know, Ketty, you raised your hand here, and actually, I was going to. What were you going to say? Were you going to also interject, or?
Thank you so much. Like, I just feel like this should be an ABC conversation, right? First off, let's be real here. Kind of unironic because the two people Caleb is picking between is the two people that Jacob Adorno picked. And what happened last time? Jacob Adorno did not come through. I love you so much, Jacob Adorno. Please do not ban me from the server afterwards. This is all jokes aside. I think something that should be brought a point is that regardless of who goes to the final two, there is going to be flaws with whoever's game is there. That is just undeniable. There is no such thing as a perfect game, especially in this game where people got rocked out, people had advantages. So there's nobody here that can say that they had the dominant game the whole way through and that every single jury member is going to like them. But what I do think is important to note is that social bonds can go a certain way. I think that when it comes to myself, I don't have those strong social connections. People like Sheena, people like Austin, people like Taylor, even Caleb's attorney, Tyler, does not like me right now. Like, there's a lot of avenues in terms of the social aspect that I think Noah has more of, that even if theoretically I went in there with objectively quotation marks the better game, there's still a chance for you to sway votes because again, perception is I didn't get to talk with half the jury. I don't have that social bond. So even though I voted them out, it doesn't necessarily mean a respect thing if I didn't make those efforts. So I think it's important to know that like even though there's flaws and pros and cons to each person's game, it's also important to realize like who has the social bonds in this game and who's going to advocate for them in the jury. Because that could make or break one or two votes that could flip someone from second place to first place. Look what happened in CTC. As soon as my ass sat on that jury bench, I got right to work. Sorry,
All
Jacob.
right.
I love you so much.
Okay, my name has been mentioned a lot more during this station than I was anticipating to, but I have one more question for each of you. We're going to start with Caleb here. Keddy made a really interesting point here, with how dynamic and how crazy and unpredictable this season has been. The first ever, and actually the second ever Rock Draw in Kaleidoscope history as well. There's so many different variables when accounting for a jury, because some may lean more towards the strategic side of things. Some juries reward single-handedly sociability, how charming or charismatic a finalist may be. Some may look at other different attributes or factors. There's no one way to predict or to determine what a winner is, because someone may be rewarded on this season by this jury that may not be as well received by another collection of 9 people on a jury. So what do you think this jury is looking for?
I think it's tough to put it into one word, like one archetype of a player, but I would hope that they would pick someone that is representative of the season. That's the word I'm going to use, representative.
I like that word, the representative. All right, then. So, Keddy, Noah, of course, Caleb has a very important decision to make. He is casting the soul vote, and as both of you will technically only be able to vote one another, your votes will cancel out. So I'm going to ask you both the same question, because so much has occurred throughout this game. All 3 of you starting off on completely different cabins. One in Ivanovo, one on Koala, one on Pinkris. And somehow y'all band together the merge and somehow ended up as the final 3. So, Keddy, tell me, what has Kaleidoscope in potentially making it to the final 2? What would that mean for you?
Thank you so much. I think for me, when it comes to the final two, like to be honest, like yes, I had a very terrible merge. Like I'm not going to sit here and deny it. I had a really bad merge in this game. And I think the biggest thing and a slap in the face in reality is the fact that like nobody says I deserve to be here. I was voted the least deserving of final seven. I had the worst social game. Half the people didn't want to talk to me. And that's is what it is. Like that's part of the game. And I understand that. Making the final two in a sense would be self like reflection, but also appreciation to know that like even though people said I didn't deserve to be here, I feel like I deserve to be there. So if I do get taken by Caleb, that is something that I will take. But I just know that like whatever happens, this journey has been very crazy. There's been a lot of twists and turns, and I don't think it will end here. I think Final Tribal Council will be an uphill battle for anyone that makes it there. But I think it's really just reflecting on how much that I've learned from this season and how I can apply it moving forward. Back to you, Mr. Adorno.
Thank you very much, Keddy. And Noah, similarly to you, although both you and I have been huge vocal points at this station right here, still the same question applies because the vote hasn't been tallied yet. The vote has not been read yet. So what has, especially as a returnee, what has Kaleidoscope meant to you? And what would potentially make it to final two mean to you? Well, damn. I'm going to try to see if I can retrieve Noah again because
They're back.
I'll bet.
That's
That
crazy.
that was
That's
the worst
crazy.
timing on the play.
That's crazy because I clicked this and I was like, oh my God, this will unmute me. No, I got kicked. It would mean the world to me. Like, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I deserve to go to the final too. I deserve to plead my case. I deserve to go against Caleb as much as Keddy does, but I deserve it because I just think it's fun trying to fight for a win. And Caleb has a chance to take their power back in this game. Like, Keddy played the idol for Caleb, and Caleb's taking Keddy to final two is almost predictable, but also, yeah, it's expected. I guess that's the same thing, but it's maybe an opportunity for agency to be reclaimed one last time in this game. And I know this isn't an agent season, but if I'm getting kicked off in the third class car tonight, then that's fine because I just know the snack cart is so close. That's all I got. Bikini girl out. That's crazy. I can't
Much
do this.
like no, well, much like Noah said, this is the final statement that to any player, any last vote anyone can cast, not from the Ponderosa side of things. This has been a very bumpy ride. Not to draw a parallel to the train theme, the aesthetic that we're going for, trying to immerse you into that. But this has been a very dynamic game here, and regardless of which one of the three of you end up being this is the word. I want to use this one because I think this is it's really cute. The representative of Kaleidoscope Seven Deadly Sins, regardless of whom that is, of the three of you, it would be well deserved. From one winner to whomever will join me in that winner circle. And as someone, again, who's been in your position, Caleb, it wasn't certain who was going to win in that final tribal council. So up until the very last second, you have all the power and the potential to sway the jury in one direction or another, whether it be for you to win or against you to win. So with that being said, Caleb, you have to cast the final vote. Please cast in your prod chat and give me a moment to tally and read the final vote, and I'll return. As this is being live streamed, of course, shout outs are encouraged. But please do not talk about the game, which I mean, like, it's final three. Like, how much more game can you guys talk about now?
I'm
But
playing my idol.
Wait, Jeff,
That's
there's
up-
one more.
Lauren Ashley back. Was that who you were quoting?
Karishma outslayed her, and that's fact. Like,
No, Karishma said, Jeff,
and then she goes, "There's one more."
stomp, 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 stomp.
Didn't she also find that idol the same episode? The episode
Yeah.
before. Like, that's kind of a waste. Like, imagine all the hard work just for it not to work.
Do you love me, Caleb?
What'd you say?
Do you love me?
I do. I do.
I don't believe you.
You love
I
me, Kayla?
I appreciate you
Rue.
it with me these last 24 hours as you can, especially considering I've been at work, so I couldn't respond.
Oh, that's fine. I'm a triple texter or a 300 character texter. Who knows?
3,000.
I had
That's the one.
tried to match that energy. You gave me 2,500 words. I'll at least give you 2,000.
No, it was good. It was good. It was good. I typed so much in my notes when I sent to paste it. It was like this is not game, but like it was like you have to delete like 13 like thousand. And I was like, I'll send it in parts.
I do want to say for one last time, shout out to my wife, specifically thank her for allowing me to play again. Not that like I had to get her permission, but I think after the first time, and I said this to a couple people, so apologies for being redundant. After the first time where I had people in my season quite literally mocking my relationship, I didn't want to put her through that again, nor did it feel fair to her. So for her to be considerate of my wants, and my wants being to play Kaleidoscope and allowing me to do that, it means a lot to me. And I'm thankful for her because not, I wouldn't have been here. So I don't know. She means a lot to me and she's been very supportive throughout this entire experience.
Shout out to Karen, shout out to Jeremy, shout out to Midge. Oh, shout out to Cash.
Shout out to Juan and shout out to Jonathan for thinking that I would never make it this far. Look who's laughing now.
Oh, this is gonna be sick. My first real vote of the season.
All right. I was about to say the votes, but there's only one vote that I have to read. Once I read the votes, the person just has a few moments to gather his, her, their belongings and get the hell off the train. See, you get it. If you know, you know. It's cute. It's a cute reference. Those who get it. The final passenger left off at the station, and the ninth and final member of our jury, Noah. Noah, that is one, and unfortunately, tonight that is enough. Have you found words? By all means, the floor is yours.
Good game.
Love you, Noah.
Noah, thank you so much for returning.
Just kidding.
Noah, thank you so much for returning to Kaleidoscope. Both of me
Fuck,
and
I
you.
forgot my sunglasses. What?
It's all good. You
Sorry.
can put them back on, no problem. Noah, thank you again so much for returning to Kaleidoscope. Technically, we both started off on the same season. We were on season 3 together. You may not remember that because I died. It had to get medically evacuated. See, that was different. No one's ever had to do that before.
No, I love you.
Love you too, Noah. But
Okay, goodbye. Do I have to leave now? That's sad. I'm usually the last one here with Prod.
fortunately, you do have to leave. You have been left off at the station. And the train keeps moving forward. Caleb, Caddy, the two of you have done what 19 other hopefuls that enter this season have been unable to do and make it to the final 2 chairs. A humongous congratulations from all members of Prod, whether we're in attendance on this Zoom or not. One of you will have reigned supreme, have overcome all of your sinful urges to become the winner of Kaleidoscope 7 Deadly Sins, where me and the rest of the winners will be waiting and welcoming you with open arms. Of course, we have to schedule the final station. We will gauge what time, what day would be most convenient for the both of you. We do want to let you know that at the very least for tomorrow, 8 p.m., we have jury roundtable. So all the jurors will be in attendance over there, talking, praising you, maybe roasting you on your games here at Kaleidoscope 7 Deadly Sins. So please don't schedule it for that time. So we have the jury occupied over there.